The nicest hell on our list is the one in Judaism. It is often described as a place of intense shame and spiritual suffering, and because of that I know I need to explain myself, don't worry. The fire is more of a metaphor for the emotional and spiritual distress of realising one's own faults and failings. Although some souls are eventually annihilated if they are too wicked to cleanse, the reason it's the lowest on this list is the aim of the hell is to basically be a place where souls are purified for up to 12 months, after which they ascend to a higher state. So basically it's less of an internal damnation, more a form of spiritual rehab. 12 months compared to forever doesn't sound too bad to me, so let's move on up this list. At number 10 we have hell in the Aztec religion, which I'd say is about 4 times as bad as the last one. Why, you may ask? It's for 4 times as long. You can't deny that logic. Mictlan is the Aztec underworld where most people, regardless of their behaviour in life, would journey to this place after death. The journey to Mictlan takes 4 years and involves passing through 9 levels, each filled with perilous challenges. The souls must face a serpent, cross a river of blood, and deal with ferocious beasts. Unlike hell in other traditions, Mictlan is not a place of punishment but rather a difficult journey that all souls must make, except for warriors and women who end up there through childbirth. Clearly the journey is fraught with obstacles and trials, but once souls reach the 9th level, they do eventually find rest. Quickly, I have a bonus hell for you, the one where I'm endlessly editing videos and I'm unable to get over 10,000 subscribers. Hit the subscribe button and end the pain for me. Thanks, now let's keep moving on. Number 9 we have the ancient Egyptian religion where hell is called the Duat, where people are judged by Osiris. The journey through Duat is perilous and souls must face various dangers such as lakes of fire, serpents and crocodiles. Luckily for these souls they are guided by the god Anubis, where their hearts are weighed against the feather of truth. If the heart is heavier, the soul is unworthy and consumed by Amit, a monstrous creature which is part lion, part crocodile and part hippopotamus. Yeah, we're moving up on the scary list now, told you. Egyptian texts describe the Duat as filled with terrifying creatures and trials. I've already mentioned one. Good news though, it is not a place of eternal punishment for most. Souls that pass the judgment continue to the field of reeds, a paradise-like afterlife. That's why this hell is only at number 9 on the list. Some of these get a lot worse, and a lot longer, I tell you that. Okay, at number 8 now we're going on to the Sikh hell, otherwise known as the Narak, which is not a very well developed concept, as the emphasis is placed more on karma, righteousness and spiritual evolution within Sikhism. It does still hold a place on this list because some Sikh texts refer to the Narak as a place where souls are punished for evil deeds. Sounds pretty hellish to me, but it's not a place of eternal torment, rather a part of the cyclical process of rebirth. The Guru Granth Sahib, which is a Sikh scripture, emphasises that the suffering of Narak is self-inflicted, rooted in ignorance, material attachments and ego. Souls that fail to realise God's presence may experience separation and suffering here, but they have the opportunity to remove themselves from these conditions through spiritual growth in future lives. Number 7 now we have the Islamic hell, which is vividly described in the Quran with multiple layers, each one harsher than the last, reserved for different types of sinners. The highest layer might be for relatively minor sins, and let me think of an example, maybe someone that doesn't like this video? Okay, not the best example, but I'm going with it. And then with the deepest pits, these are reserved for hypocrites and the worst sinners. The whole place is filled with flames, molten copper and various forms of torment. Souls are roasted in fire, forced to drink boiling blood and wear garments of liquid pitch that catch fire. And to top it all off, skin is burnt off and regenerated repeatedly. Fantastic. This is definitely the most severe we've had so far, but many Islamic scholars interpret hell as temporary for many souls. So, we're going to move on. With number 6, which is my most painful hell because, well, have you seen this name? The ancient religion of Zoroastrianism teaches people that souls cross the Chinvat bridge. If they have lived a good life, the bridge widens and they cross into paradise. If they have lived an evil life, the bridge narrows and they fall into hell. Hell here is described as a place of suffering filled with darkness, foul smells and cries of anguish. Sounds like my old dorm room, to be honest. Souls in hell are tormented by their own evil deeds which manifest as hideous creatures. However, in Zoroastrianism, hell is temporary, designed as a place of punishment and purification. At the end of time, the world will be renewed. During this process, all souls will be purified by a river of molten metal that flows over the earth, and even the wicked will eventually be reconciled. Imagine how bad things must be if you're waiting for a river of molten metal to turn your life around. Here's some free advice from a frog. Be good people, I don't want you to ever be in that situation. Anyway, moving on to number 5, we have Naraka, which is the Hindu hell, and is under the control of Yama. Hindu texts describe Naraka as having multiple realms, each suited to a different kind of sinner. One text described 28 main hells, each more terrible than the last. The most horrific level involves punishments like being boiled in oil, being sawed in half, or being consumed by animals. Some more notable hells here are one reserved for those who inflict pain on others, where sinners are tormented by snakes, another where sinners are tortured by ferocious beasts, and one perfectly designed for atheists and those who deny spiritual truth, involving endless pain and resurrection within hell. All these punishments are proportional to one's karma, and after serving their time, souls are reincarnated into a new life. The only positive of this hell is that the concept of reincarnation implies that the suffering here is only temporary, as the soul moves on to a new existence based on its past deeds. Moving on to number 4, we have the religion of Taoism. The name of the hell here is called Diyu, and it's a detailed and graphic series of underworld courts where souls are punished for their earthly wrongdoings. Diyu consists of 18 levels, or courts, overseen by the ruler of hell. Each level deals with different sins, and the punishments are highly specific and brutal. For lying, the tongue is ripped out, and for theft, hands are chopped off. Tortures include being boiled in oil, crushed by mountains, and devoured by animals. These punishments are seen as temporary, and once the soul's debt is actually paid, they are reincarnated. Now moving into the final 3 with Buddhism, who refers to hell as Naraka, which is the same as Hinduism. In Buddhist teachings, it is a series of hells that are temporary but intensely painful. 2 schools of Buddhism describe various hot and cold hells, each associated with specific forms of karmic retribution. I'm guessing this isn't like a spa day then? The series of hot hells include one where beings are burnt alive, experiencing continuous pain. The lowest and most painful level is where beings experience continuous agony, such as being roasted in iron cauldrons or boiled alive in molten lava. The series of the cold bits include a hell where beings are frozen in ice and their skin cracks open due to the cold. And then there's a deeper level of cold where even the bones of the being are frozen and shattered. Buddhist hell is not eternal, and once a soul's bad karma is expended, they are reborn into a higher state. However, suffering in these realms can last for a massive length of time, depending on the weight of the past deeds. Now we end this pathetic temporary hell stuff and enter the endless ones, with number 2 and Christianity. Hell in the Christian faith is most commonly portrayed as a place of eternal torment designed for the wicked. Its imagery varies across many Christian beliefs, but most people speak about eternal separation from God in a place of physical suffering. Saints often depict it as an inferno of unquenchable fire, where demons torment souls. The fire is symbolic of God's wrath, and unlike earthly fire, it causes excruciating suffering without annihilating the soul. Catholicism includes the concept of purgatory, a temporary state for the purification of souls who are ultimately destined for heaven, but most other Christian faiths just teach the idea of endless fire and brimstone. Fantastic. Number 1 on this list, the worst hell according to me, and if you disagree, don't come crying to me in the comment section. It's the ancient Greek hell of Tartarus. Tartarus is the part of the Greek underworld distinct from Hades, and is reserved for the worst of sinners and divine enemies. According to myth, Tartarus is described as a deep, dark abyss, far beneath Hades. The Iliad says that Tartarus is as far beneath Hades as the earth is from heaven. It's the place where the Titans, the enemies of the Olympian gods, were imprisoned after their defeat. Sisyphus is condemned to roll a boulder up a hill, only for it to roll back down every time he nears the top, symbolising the futility of his punishment. Tantalus is doomed to eternal thirst and hunger, with food and water always just out of reach. And finally, Ixion is bound to a fiery revolving wheel for eternity for attempting to seduce Zeus's wife. Thanks for watching until the end. If you like this video, you'll probably like one of these too.